Hello, hello, hello. My name's Everything Explained, and today we're going to be talking about American Horror Story Double Feature Part 2 titled Death Valley. And the title of this episode is called Take Me to Your Leader. I was very anxious about seeing tonight's episode after the finale of Red Tide, and I really feel like they came with it. I was not disappointed. So, we originally get a shot of this fire truck, this toy fire truck, which turned out to belong to a boy named Timothy. He's outside riding around his front yard. This takes place in, I believe it was 1952 in Albuquerque, New Mexico. And he sees a dust devil like a tornado in the background. And then we also get another shot of his mother named Maria, and she's just cooking. She's getting dinner ready for her husband. She's listening to a record, and the lights start flickering around the time the dust tornado's coming around, and everything is going wild. She goes outside and sees just a beam of light over Timothy's truck. She then runs back over to the phone, her landline, and tries to contact 911, but all the electricity is just down. Her record is spinning still, but backwards. So she's freaking out. And then suddenly, this overwhelming light just consumes her entire house. So, after that, her husband actually comes home and finds her just suspended in animation, floating in midair. And he's asking her, Maria, are you okay? And at this point, like, even when these aliens possess someone, I guess they have their abilities as well, whoever the host is. Because we see Maria do some sort of telepathic or like psychic ability. She points her hand at her husband, this Navy guy, and his head just explodes. Like, she just points her hand at him and his head just bursts into pieces. So, whoever is possessed by the alien also has some sort of psychic ability, I'm assuming. But then we see Dwight Eisenhower introduced. He's playing a game of golf with his buddies, and these men in black approach him and they say, "Mr. President, we've got an emergency." They then take Dwight Eisenhower to the crash zone and then he basically like sees what's going on, and they break it down to him. They show him a body which Dwight Eisenhower, he says it looks like a child, and then he asks him to get it out of there. And the whole crash site is just insane looking. They did a really good job with that. But we then get another army soldier who comes and approaches the president, and he says, "You've got to come see this." And that's where we get the first scene of Amelia Earhart, and President Eisenhower comes and gives her her jacket. She's in the middle of the desert near the crash site, and so then we see the president asking, "Well, what is your name?" And she says Amelia Earhart, and we see the president take his glasses off in disbelief. And in the following scene, we actually see Amelia Earhart and President Eisenhower having a one-on-one conversation, and he's asking her, "Well, hey, what do you like? What's going on?" And essentially, she says, "Well, like she's explaining what happens, how her plane went down, and then there was just a giant bright light, and when she awoke, seemed well, she didn't really say what she seen, but she said they would stick stuff in her, and the marks on her back was because they used these needles, and they said it wouldn't hurt, but it did hurt her, and they would take blood work." And when he finally asked who they are, Amelia Earhart starts having just a complete meltdown. We see a bunch of nurses having to swarm in and come and sedate her. And President Eisenhower is just like just wrecked at this point. Like, he cannot take anymore. But then we see another army gentleman come escort him to another room where they're doing the autopsy on the alien we seen in the trailer footage, and the president's watching their recording in the other room, and we see them remove the alien's chest, and there's nothing inside, no organs or anything, and they're all in disbelief. But that's actually where we get the scene of that goop attacking this doctor on the face, and This doctor's struggling, the president's screaming for him to get some help, and then we get another scene where the goop jumps off of this doctor's face onto that doctor's face over here in the corner. And as soon as the alien, like plasma or whatever you want to call it, plasma, excuse me, as soon as it jumps off of his face onto the other doctor's face, we see this doctor's head just explode, and the president is again in disbelief. And they are at this point about to remove the president from the autopsy because they're trying to figure out what's going on. And then that's when we get the shot of Maria in the hallway floating down to confront the president. She's displaying that telepathic ability. She actually blows off another one of the president's associates' heads. Just it explodes everywhere in a bloody mess. She's just like lining them down. And then we see the president actually try to talk to her, and the president asks her to stop killing. She says, "No, Mr. President, you're gonna listen to us." And after that, we it goes to a commercial, and we come back to a present time. And before I actually get into this, I just want you guys to pay attention to these scenes are all in black and white, so they let you know that it takes place in the past. Like I said, I believe it was in Albuquerque, New Mexico of 1952, but I might have had my year wrong. But it was during the time that President Eisenhower was in office. So then we get a modern scene of a gentleman named Cal. We get another lady friend named Kendall. We get a guy named Troy. And then we also get Jamie. And these were all presumed to be friends from high school who went their separate ways for college, but they all come back to meet together for a summer hurrah. And we get to find out that Troy and Cal are actually in a relationship. And then after that, we see that Jamie was also in some sort of entanglement with a gentleman, but she was having intercourse with him. Not intercourse. They were fooling around in her words, and he ejaculated on her skin, and she had some sort of a severe reaction, and it she said it felt like acid burning her skin, so she's going through this whole depression. But I actually thought that was weird how she's having an allergic reaction to that. But anyway, after that we get Kendall's backstory, and she's been taking this class called 50 Years of Technology, where basically they don't believe in the progress of technology. Makes a point to where how if like the people of the past like 2000 years, if you take someone from 1400, I mean if you take someone from 1200 and put them in 1400, I believe, or there was somewhere like that time, that the person would be able to adapt because technology hadn't increased so rapidly. But if you look at the last 50 years of technology and took like a man from I forget what year, like the 1800s, and put him in 2021, he probably would like kill himself or something like that. But anyway, so she does not believe in technology. She thinks it's like terrible. The only way you can even get in touch with her is through a landline. And so then we get a scene of all of the friends within like an hour of them meeting all up. They're all just on their phones, and Kendall says, this is ridiculous and everything. Like, no phones on our trip. She's explaining that this whole thing came about because of a professor who just shattered her mind and recreated her reality, and he does not believe in technology also, and also he is having some kind of relations with her. There's a scene where they're having intercourse, so we see that she's very, very like mesmerized by his lifestyle. So, anyway, she says no phones on this trip. So they pack and they go out into the desert, and we see all of them just having a great time, no technology. They're all rebonding. We see Jamie crying and being consulted and felt, I guess, comforted by Kendall over the breakup and the reaction because, things aren't good with her and that guy due to her having that reaction. And then we get a scene of the next day, and we see them going back to the lake or the pond, whatever you want to call it. And then we get a scene where he's saying it's not there, like it was in this exact spot, but now it's just missing. Then we get a scene of the desert, and we see that the water is nowhere to be found. He's tripping out, and then we see Kendall, and she goes, and she is like, no, that's really weird, but what's that smell? And there's an overpowering aroma of like a corpse, I guess. And like Kendall starts running off from the rest of the group, and this is the scene where we end up seeing all the animals sliced in half perfectly, and they all point out that there is no blood surrounding the animals. They're all sliced in half, very clean, very perfect, and they're all bugging out. And they're like, everyone in the group is ready to go except Kendall. She approaches one of the animals that's sliced in half, and she actually touches it. And everyone else is just disgusted. They're just like, let's get out of here. But then we see Kendall rubbing the animal, and even though it's sliced in half, we see its eye move and stare at her. And after that, the entire group was just basically out of there. And so then we get a shot of them, and they're packing up their things in a rush. You can see that it's evening time approaching night, and they are trying to get on out of there. We get another scene of them driving off into the mountains into the night. They leaving their campsite in a hurry because of the animals. They think there's some kind of serial killer out there, but little do they know they are about to run into a light. And if you actually notice, Troy is driving and Cal's in the passenger seat, but there's a bright light and it's about to consume their entire car. They're all blinded, their car shuts off, no energy is flowing. They have an emergency OnStar that won't work, and so they're all bugging out. And Jamie is looking out the window. She pokes her head back in the car, and then she is greeted with an alien approaching their vehicle. And if you like pay attention, these aliens are different than the first aliens we seen. So the aliens approaching their vehicle, and as that's all happening, their light is completely consumed. I'm sorry, their car is completely consumed by the light. And then we get a shot of the aliens. Like I said, these are different than the ones we seen earlier in the autopsy room. These aliens are, they have some kind of tentacles surrounding everyone in the vehicle and then choking them out, I guess. So after that, everything goes white for them. I'm not sure if these are the same aliens from Asylum with Kid or not. But you never know. We'll see in the next episode. But then we get a we get a shot of them all waking up, and they're all in the car, but they're all in different spots. Jamie's actually not in the vehicle. I believe Troy was driving. No, I'm sorry, Cal was driving and almost hit Jamie. But they wound up coming in. They got her back in the car. She's sweating and freaking out. But they wound up driving home. We get a shot of them in the next day. Excuse me, pull this on up. We get a shot of the next day. They're all feeling sick, and this is what we seen in the trailer. Everyone is throwing up. Jamie and Kendall believe that one of the boys might have drugged them. She's talking. Kendall is talking to her teacher, asking can she use technology just this once to look it up, and he's basically just ridiculing her. Once Kendall finds out that Jamie also is sick, they meet up and they wound up taking. I'm so sorry. I'm sorry, guys. I'm sorry. Okay, there we go. So Kendall and Jamie meet up and they wound up taking a pregnancy test and it turns out they're both pregnant. They are like freaking out. Kendall's like on point. She's saying this has to be something with an alien. But she had been hooking up with her teacher, so she could have possibly been pregnant. But it's weird that both of them are pregnant. And so then at that point, Cal and Troy in their scene, it shows them both feeling sick. Troy threw up, and then they go and they meet up with Kendall and Jamie, and they explain their symptoms, and they're all having the same symptoms. So then we get the scene that Cal and Troy take a pregnancy test, and it turns out that all four of them are pregnant. So that was, I did not actually see that coming at first. This first episode is completely better than the entirety of Red Tide. I definitely think they've redeemed themselves after that trash finale. But I'm so curious to see what's gonna happen next. I'm not sure if the pills or the chemist or any of the original Red Tie story is actually going to tie back into this, but I'm very excited to see if it does. I'll keep you guys posted. There is a trailer up for the second episode. I'll probably be doing a review slash reaction on that very soon, so you can watch out for that upload. And I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Give it a like, a subscribe, and comment what else you want me to talk about. My name's Everything Explained, and I will see you guys in the next one.